Beloved child of mine, have you ever felt your heart suddenly stirred by something small, like a gentle wind brushing the roof in the dark of night, and in that instant, I, the Lord God, awakened in you a deeper awareness? Do not treat quiet signs as insignificant, for they may be the necessary warning I send to protect what supports you from an unseen danger drawing near in silence. In that holy moment, I do not sow fear. I kindle light so that you may recognize, respond, and stand more firmly within my grace. Do you know that the watchfulness I give you is not meant to plant unrest in your soul? On the contrary, it is a gift of grace, my quiet voice carried into the calm of ordinary days, reminding you not to overlook what seems very small. For when you notice the sign and awaken, you are given the ability to act. You are no longer helpless before circumstances, but become strong and at peace in my arms. Do not be afraid when I warn you. Be thankful that you are reminded, for that light is the beginning of a deep and lasting peace. I have entrusted you with a home, not merely a place to shelter from sun and rain, but a symbol of stability, responsibility, and love. Every home must be kept, examined, and protected. So too must every relationship, every decision, every boundary in your life be ordered with wisdom. When I alert you to danger, I am inviting you to live awake and to steward well what I have placed in your hands, so that nothing quietly fractures the foundation you are building day by day. Remember, a secure home is formed when you know what you are guarding and are ready to check and repair what is needed. Do not let suspicion or unusual things drive you to hasty conclusions or make you panic and react impulsively. I want you to pause, hold on to peace, and open your heart toward me in prayer, asking for wisdom and for light to guide you. At times, darkness is only a thin veil hiding the truth, and you need stillness to hear my voice clearly. True faith does not steal your reason, it steadies you and clears your sight, so that each step you take is plain, honest, and filled with my light. Remember the story of the gatekeeper of Jerusalem in the book of Nehemiah. He did not merely open and close the gates, but stayed alert whenever he heard a strange sound in the night. Once, because of that vigilance, he discovered a group plotting to undermine the city. Through that small watchfulness, God turned danger into an opportunity to strengthen the walls and bring security to the people. I do the same for you, turning each warning into a turning point of restoration. So you grow, become stronger, and step into a new chapter of blessing. My child, at times a feeling rises within you that is hard to name, uncertain whether it is worry or only a faint stirring. I know you often try to brush it aside, telling yourself everything is fine, that there is nothing worth noticing. Yet in those moments I gently awaken you, not to frighten you, but to keep you from falling asleep in familiarity. The watchfulness I give is not loud, not forceful. It comes like a soft breath in the deep of night, just enough for you to open your eyes and look again. For if you do not look, you will not see. If you do not listen, you will not understand. And I love you too much to let you walk forward without warning. Some things in your life do not collapse overnight. They have been cracking for a long time in silence. I see the small gaps you have not yet noticed, the details that seem harmless, yet are slowly loosening what supports you. So I gently stir your heart, so you will stop before everything goes too far. Do not think this is a bad omen, for grace often arrives before danger, not after loss has already come. When I draw your attention, I am protecting you, not condemning you. Watchfulness is a sign that you are still being kept in my loving hands. I do not want you to live tense or suspicious of everything around you. What I desire is a mind that is awake yet peaceful, a heart that is sensitive yet not panicked. You can walk through a shifting world and still keep steadiness within, if you know when to pause and listen for my voice. Watchfulness does not weaken you. It returns to you your agency and clarity. When you recognize what is unusual early, you are not swept away by the current of events, but stand firm to choose a wise course of action. This is a gift I place in your hands, not a burden I lay upon your shoulders. At times you ask why I do not speak more plainly, why it is only faint signs and gentle feelings. But my child, if I revealed everything at the beginning, you would be overwhelmed with fear, and if I remained completely silent, you would grow careless. I choose to whisper so you learn to listen, to discern, and to mature. Light is not always dazzling, yet it is always enough to guide each step. As it is written, Thy word is a lamp unto my feet, and a light unto my path, a light that does not blind you, but keeps you safe as you walk through the dark. I see there are moments when you blame yourself for worrying too much, for no longer being as carefree as before. But I want you to understand there is a great difference between blind fear and watchfulness led by the Holy Spirit. One drains you, the other strengthens you. When you feel the need to check again, to look more carefully, to ask questions, that is not weakness. It is a sign that you are growing in wisdom. I do not call you to live naively in a turbulent world. I call you to live alert within my peace. Watchfulness also teaches you to treasure what I have entrusted to you. When you pay closer attention, you will see more clearly the value of your home, of stability, of relationships that must be protected. You will no longer leave things to chance, nor loosen your responsibility, because you understand that what is precious must be guarded. I do not wait until loss happens to comfort you. I want you preserved and sheltered from the beginning, and watchfulness will help you do that, step by step, under my gentle leading. Let your heart rest in this truth. If I awaken you, it is because I am still very near. I do not awaken you and then abandon you. I do not warn you and then turn away. Each time you wake up, you step deeper into my protection, where light gradually drives out every shadow. You do not need to fear what is being revealed, for I show you only what you have strength to face. And when you choose to open your eyes in grace, I will lead you through every danger, not so you may be harmed, but so you may stand firmer than ever. You know, on each person's journey, I do not merely give you a physical house to dwell in, but I place in your hands many precious things that require your care and stewardship. What you have is not mere coincidence. It is a trust of blessing I have appointed, a mark of love between you and me in every breath of life. Sometimes it is only a familiar corner of your home, a relationship that must be protected, a decision you are about to make, yet all of it is seed that must be nurtured with wisdom and watchfulness. I do not want you to dismiss anything, for what seems small may be where I lay a foundation for something great to come. Stability in your heart and in your home is built through daily attentiveness, not only through prayer, but also through checking, repairing, and protecting. When you recognize that responsibility, you have taken a long step into maturity, becoming a wise steward whom I delight to bless. I see that in this world many people leave everything to time, thinking that matters will somehow settle and improve if they do not touch them. But my child, I want you to learn to keep watch, to recognize what matters, and to protect it actively. A home whether of tile and wood or only a small room, cannot endure without regular repair, cleaning, and care. So it is with the human heart. Inner stability does not arrive on its own. It must be preserved with discipline and attention. It may be only a small agreement within the family, a promise to friends, or a boundary in a relationship. If you neglect it, cracks will slowly appear. I do not want you to wait until the storm rises before you begin to worry. For watchfulness is for prevention, not for last-minute repair. Each time you place your hand on your own door, tidy the table, or sit down to review your papers, it is not merely routine. It is a sign that you are living faithfully in the role I have given you. In the same way, when you reorder your inner life, face tangled emotions, or reset clear boundaries in relationships, you are building a fortress that protects you. I rejoice when I see you value and guard what I have entrusted to you, because you are walking in wisdom not only for yourself, but for generations to come. If you remain faithful, I will grant you blessings far beyond what you imagine. Sometimes it is the small things that become the roots of lasting peace. I want you to learn to recognize the worth of each possession, each moment, each person beside you. Look at the important papers in the drawer, each clause in an agreement, and the boundaries you have set in relationships. These all need to be reviewed, strengthened, and protected. Do not hesitate to recheck, to examine, or to ask questions, for that is the wisdom I want you to keep. At times, one small negligence is enough to open a gap through which danger can slip into your home and into your heart. Remember that I am always near to teach and to remind you of what is still lacking. At times, you fear that continual checking and stewardship will steal your peace or make you overly suspicious. But I tell you, watchfulness and care are not doubt or excessive control. They are signs of deep love for what I have placed in your hands. When you guard your home and protect your boundaries and those of others, you are planting trust and stability not only for today but also for the future. Love is not shown only through words, but through every protective action, every deliberate choice that prevents fracture before it is too late. Picture the faithful steward in my parable. He does not wait for the master to return before he tidies the house, but day by day tends each small corner, checks each belonging, and stays ready for unexpected change. Because of that initiative and faithfulness, he is blessed and becomes an example for others to follow. I desire you to be the same, never passive, never careless, but always awake and willing to guard all that I have entrusted to you. As Scripture says, "He that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much." This is the secret to holding steady in every circumstance. There are days when you grow weary under responsibilities, and you only want to let go or relax your guard to ease your heart. I understand your weakness, and I do not condemn you for it. But, my child, remember that what you protect today becomes the foundation that lets you step into tomorrow with peace. Your initiative today will bring peace to you and to those you love in the days ahead. Do not be afraid to check again, to repair, or to speak your boundaries, because doing so will help you build a steadfast home and a resilient spirit for every trial. And whenever you do not know where to begin, ask me for clarity and patience. I will show you what must be examined, what must be reordered, what should be strengthened to preserve peace. Do not rush, and do not be anxious, only keep a faithful heart, and everything that matters will be kept safely in your hands. I am always with you, upholding you, and giving you the wisdom you need to steward your home, your responsibilities, and your boundaries well. And when you are faithful with small things, I will not withhold from you greater blessings. Do you realize that amid all the busyness of life, nothing is more precious than a home sheltered by love and watchfulness? I have given you that home, not only as a refuge from sun and rain, but as ground where peace and joy can sprout and grow. I want you to treasure it and to keep it well. For every brick and every corner is part of the grace I have placed in your care. Do not think the home becomes precious only when storms arrive. The value of what is familiar often shines brightest when you learn to care for it and steward it daily. People often think of protection only when trials draw near. But in my loving gaze, you are invited to guard things proactively. A forgotten, important paper, an unfulfilled promise, or a boundary in a relationship slowly fading. These are gentle reminders of responsibility. Do not despise such small things, for endurance always begins with careful attention. When you take time to reorder your living space, reconsider your decisions, or heal a crack in the heart of someone you love, that is when you are living fully in my desire. At times, amid the repeating rhythms of life, you may forget that a home needs to be checked and strengthened continually. It might be a conversation that clears up a misunderstanding, or the courage to speak your honest feelings before confusion has time to pile up. Do not be afraid to start the conversation, and do not hesitate to make things right. I never reproach you simply because you want to protect what is good. I only hope you will not let carelessness, a bit, or laziness create invisible cracks. When you dare to repair and set things in order again, that is also when I open the door of blessing and help you stand steadier. If you have ever hesitated to say no, to set a boundary, or to pause and check on something, do not think that means you lack love. On the contrary, that is the wisdom I want to see in you, because true love always goes hand in hand with protection. When a limit is set at the right time, the home becomes more secure and hearts feel safer. Do not assume that yielding is always the solution. Sometimes a gentle refusal, a decisive action, is the greatest expression of love you can offer one another. You may not have noticed that every decision, even the smallest, helps shape your safe place. A document put in the right place, a family guideline lovingly repeated, or simply a timely look of care. These are small stones that build a strong fortress. I want you to be proud of the role of stewardship I have entrusted to you. Not with pressure, but with joy. Do not think guarding what you have is merely a duty. It is how you show love and gratitude for what I have given. Each day you return home, each time you recheck the things that seem ordinary, is another time you remind yourself of the value of what I have placed in your care. I see in your eyes, and in every small act of tending, a quiet growth that is radiant. Remember this: every boundary must be built. Every precious possession must be protected. Every wholesome relationship needs gentle verification. Being awake does not pull you away from love. It is the very substance that makes love endure. Sometimes I see you wavering between leaving it alone and fixing it, between trusting and checking. I do not want to turn you into a suspicious person. Yet I will not leave you naive in this world. When you keep that balance wise enough not to let go, gentle enough not to be harsh, you are living in step with my heart. Let each small action be a silent thank you, a proof of faithfulness. Whoever is faithful in little will also be faithful in much. That word echoes in the breathing of your home, the place where I delight to dwell. And when you look back on the road you have walked, you will see that every act of protection, stewardship, and keeping, no matter how small, has helped grow the peace you have always longed for. I rejoice to see you not passively led by upheavals, but actively guarding the pillars of your life. Through those seemingly quiet things, you will be ready to face any trial because you know this home, this place of peace, is where I have walked with you, kept you, and blessed you fully. There are moments in life when nothing unfolds the way you hoped. Something unusual appears. Your heart becomes unsettled, your mind tangled, and your first reaction is often worry to rush it, to finish quickly, to reach a conclusion fast so you can feel relieved. But, my child, I want you to learn something deeper. Do not let haste or passing emotions lead you through seasons of testing. Calmness is the strong weapon of a person of faith, the path that keeps peace and clarity in the middle of the storm. Whenever you feel you are about to explode or be swept away by confusion, remember that I am always beside you, quietly waiting for you to pause, to breathe, and to turn your heart toward me. Not every situation demands an immediate reaction, and worry does not solve problems just because it feels urgent. If you can be patient a little and open your heart in prayer, you will receive the wisdom I am ready to give. Do not forget, clarity does not come from rushing, but from seeking my light in every decision. You may think, if I don't speak up right now, everything will get worse. Yet many times, a moment of silence is the way for you to hear what is truly in your heart, and my gentle reminder as well. When you choose to stop, to weigh things, and to ask for guidance, you are placing trust in me instead of letting fear control you. I do not push you into hurried action, because I know each careful decision will bring greater blessing to you and to those you love. At times, you may find your heart flooded with doubt. In those moments, ask yourself, what is true? What are you teaching me through this? I want you to understand that steadiness is not avoidance. It is choosing to face everything with a posture that is purposeful and full of faith. An action that rises from peace will always be more lasting and sure than any decision made in panic. I once showed my disciples the value of calm when a storm rose on the Sea of Galilee. While everyone panicked, I spoke, "Be quiet, be still." And the wind and waves fell silent, and the waters grew calm. That story is not only about power. It is a reminder that true faith does not throw you into turmoil. It gives you the steadiness to wait for light and direction. Each time you face difficulty, let my peace fill your mind before you decide your next step. Sometimes, to keep your peace, you will need to seek counsel, to go to the wise, or to wait for a clearer sign. Do not be ashamed to ask for advice, or to choose to pause instead of pushing forward too quickly. I do not call that weakness. I call it the mark of a mature heart that knows how to lean on me. A heart like that is not fearful, but confident and clear. Remember, no trial is strong enough to steal your peace if you truly hold on to me. The moments when you are quiet, when you pray, and when you ask for wisdom are the moments you hear my voice most clearly and find a way through the fog. No matter how great the storms outside may be, true faith will help you stand firm, stay steady, and act rightly as I continue to wait with you in stillness, gently comforting and lifting you day by day. Sometimes, in days that seem calm, you will notice a few things that are not quite right appearing very gently, like a small scratch on a smooth mirror. It might be a strange question rising in a familiar conversation, a detail that does not fit and unsettles your heart, or a person who seemed silent suddenly speaking up. None of these things are random. I allow truth to surface in quiet, wise ways, so you can look again at what is happening in your life. You do not need to tremble when truth draws near, because my light is always enough to reveal and to heal. The world may teach you that sometimes what is hidden will remain in darkness forever, that justice does not always speak, and that truth will never be fully known. But I remind you, the light I give does not only shine outward, it reaches into the deepest corners of every soul. Truth, even when buried beneath layers of deception, will in time be uncovered when you learn to wait patiently and keep your heart clean. Do not rush to judge, and do not fear what you have not yet seen completely. For I have a way of making all things clear at the right time. At times you may ask yourself, am I the only one noticing something unusual? Am I alone in this search for truth? But, my child, I will never leave you alone in a struggle against darkness. Sometimes I will send someone near you who dares to speak, a sincere and upright heart, or even a small coincidence that is enough to help you see the true nature of the matter. Truth does not need noise, but it is always patient and persistent as it waits to be revealed, and I am the light who protects and guides you so you do not lose your way among the many crossroads of doubt. If anyone has ever made you believe that justice can fall asleep, let your heart be at rest. For I am not only the Creator but also the one who rules over all. I see all things, know all things, and love even the smallest details of your life. When a door seems closed, I can open another path so truth can be heard. No matter who tries to hide something, no matter how thick the darkness becomes, my light is strong enough to dissolve every uncertainty and shine into every corner that seems unknown to all. You may have been disappointed because a truth was revealed too late, or perhaps it was never acknowledged at all. But I urge you to keep faithfulness and trust in the light. When you continue to do what is right, to speak truth, and to live transparently, you will be protected by my power. Sometimes clarity comes slowly, yet each steadfast step you take becomes a strong testimony that truth cannot be buried forever. Whoever lives by the truth comes to the light, so it may be seen that what they have done has been done in God. Truth not only helps you pass through hardship, it is also the foundation for rebuilding trust, restoring what is cracked, and stepping into relationships that are stronger. Do not hesitate to face what you discover, because when truth is revealed, pain also has a chance to be healed. I do not want you living in darkness or suspicion. I want you walking in light and safety. Truth will open the road to peace, helping you see what must change, what should remain, and who is truly worthy to walk alongside you. And then, as the light shines, everything once hidden will gradually become clear, even if you must pass through feelings of loss, emptiness, or even hurt when truth is exposed. In that very moment, I will be near, soothing and restoring you with endless love. I use truth not to wound you, but to heal you, to help you grow, and to make you steadier through every storm of life. After all this, you will understand that my light is not merely about uncovering everything. It is also a reminder that you are never alone on the journey of seeking what is true. I am the one who upholds justice, protects the upright, and gives peace to those who choose to live in truth. Keep your heart clean, live transparently, and trust that this light will always walk with you and lead you through every trial in life. There are days when a headwind suddenly blows in, bringing collisions that leave your heart reeling like a boat in a whirlpool. I see your anxiety. I feel your racing breath. And I gently tell you, be calm. Because trials are not only meant to pull you out of danger, but to launch you higher. Like a seed pressed down under heavy soil learns how to push upward, you too will learn the suppleness of faith under the pressure of upheaval. I do not deny the pain, but I turn it into the material of steady growth. When you stop trying to control everything, you begin to see my hand laid upon the fractured joints to mend them. The path that seemed to be a dead end opens into a small doorway. Then a ray of light slips in, just enough for you to take a step. And from that first, hesitant step, you will feel the ground grow firmer beneath your feet. What others intended to make you lose your footing, I use as a wooden ladder to lift you beyond the edge of the cliff. There are times when the test touches exactly where you thought you were strongest: your honor, your home, your work, or a relationship that has long been woven into your life. I allow you to see the vulnerable parts, not to condemn you, but so you can recognize which foundations need to be reinforced. Like a skilled craftsman tapping each brick to listen for the hollow sound, you learn to listen to the true sound of your own inner life. Every uneven echo reminds you to replace a brick, change the mortar, and reset the supporting beams. You will be surprised to discover that with just small adjustments at the joints, the whole structure becomes much more solid. I stand behind you, not pushing, only encouraging you to dare to name your weaknesses. When you call them by their true name, strength finds a place to come and dwell. From the quiet, courage grows like a flame being fed with dry kindling. Then you will see a gentle yet unyielding law. Hardship does not stay to crush you. It comes to cooperate with grace if you place it in my hands. I remind you of this, not to give you a slogan, but so that you may live this way whenever you are tried by fire. For all things work together for good to those who love God, Romans 8:2-8, as they walk in my gracious will. That good is not always immediate relief from pain. Sometimes it is deeper vision, a softer heart, and sharper wisdom. You learn to choose what is right even when what is convenient calls out to you. You grow accustomed to the slower pace of discernment instead of the frantic speed of emotion. You gradually release the need to prove yourself right in order to hold on to the need to keep your heart upright before me. When your heart is upright, you no longer fear the light. And when you no longer fear the light, you walk in freedom. That freedom becomes a new temperament in you, light yet steady, gentle yet strong. From here on, your way of acting will change instead of exploding in reaction. You choose words that are clear, transparent, and steady. You record events as they are, neither exaggerating nor avoiding them, so that truth has its own path to step out into the open. You make room for prayer before you make room for speculation, allowing peace to guide your reason instead of fear pulling you by the hand. You open the door to weighty counsel, so that the experience of the wise can drive additional nails to secure your decisions. You look to long-term outcomes instead of brief relief, so that tomorrow will not have to pay the price for today's haste. Those small but well-directed steps are like laying plank after plank of a bridge, in time. You no longer swim through the swirling waters you walk across. Once you have crossed on firm boards, you understand that calmness is not a personality trait, but the fruit of faith. And that fruit soothes even the storm inside the heart of the one standing in front of you. To show you something few people speak of, I remember Mephibosheth, the lame young man, living in obscurity, carrying an unfinished story and the world's dismissive gaze upon him, when it seemed he would spend his life in the shadows. One day King David summoned him, not to condemn his past, but to restore what belonged to his family, and to seat him at the king's table, to eat there, always. The very event that had buried him in shame became the foundation for an unexpected lifting up. I tell you this so that you understand there are disabilities that do not have to disappear in order to be honored. There are disadvantages that do not have to be erased in order to be restored. What creates the turning point is not a noisy miracle. but upright kindness meeting the appointed time I have set. When that time comes, your integrity will meet grace like a seed meeting rain. And at that table of restoration, you will no longer call yourself by your old name. Your honor too will be cleansed in a quiet yet enduring way. I open doors that seemed shut, so that those who need to hear will hear, those who need to see will see, and those who need to reconsider will reconsider. There is no need to argue with a loud voice. It is enough to be steadfast in upright actions, and I will see to it that the voice of truth finds its way. When others wait for you to stumble, you walk firmly. When they hope you will grow weary, you are given more strength. When they think you have been pushed down, you rise to stand higher. It is precisely that perseverance without bitterness that will blur their labels and highlight a rare quality, faithfulness through a season of adverse winds. I set around you silent witnesses, time, outcomes, and consistency. Those three witnesses know how to speak, and they will speak on your behalf. When it is time for you to speak, you will say little, but enough. When stability returns, do not assume the story is over. In truth, a new chapter has just begun within you. Your vision widens regarding what is worth keeping, what should be released, and what must be protected to the very end. You learn how to build boundaries without erecting cold walls, how to open your heart without flinging the doors wide to everything that rushes in. You begin to read the rhythm of grace in very ordinary things, a goodwill phone call, an opportunity that seems small, an invitation to collaborate with the right person. The pieces no longer fall out of sync. They find their places, and the picture is gradually completed. You no longer sit counting the scratches. You stand up to clean and polish. The light shining on that freshly polished mirror will clearly reflect my face. And from that reflection, others will recognize that you are no longer the same. Then you will realize that this resilience does not lift only you. It draws many other lives upward as well. Those who once witnessed your quiet efforts will learn the lesson of patience without bitterness. Those who once doubted you will have the chance to look again and honor the goodness that has been revealed. You become a gentle hand, knowing how to rest a lifting weight on another's shoulder enough to raise them, without display and without noise. I entrust to you more people who need to be lifted, projects that need restoration, homes that need to have their cornerstone reset. As you give away what you have received, you yourself will be strengthened within. Like a great tree growing steadier as its roots spread wider, from then on, blessing is no longer only a destination, it becomes the path you walk. And on that path, you no longer fear any further gust of wind. Finally, remember this so that peace may remain in your chest. The trial that once tried to drag you down has become the lever that lifts you higher. Because I have set my hand on the right fulcrum, I do not replace every hardship with a path strewn with flowers. I turn the hardship itself into the flooring on which you walk securely. Your home is given back its quiet. Your honor is washed clear again, and the future opens an extra channel of light. You keep on walking, unhurried and unafraid, with a changed gait, mature, gentle, and not easily shaken. Every new breath is an act of thanksgiving. Every new decision, a step in rhythm with grace. When people ask why you are still radiant after the storm, you smile because you know that light does not come from your own willpower. It comes from the one who held your hand as you passed through the dark place. And with that hand, you can go much farther still. Pause your steps for a moment. Do not let your eyes skim over this as if it were only a thin layer of dust on a windowsill. For right in this seemingly ordinary moment, something weighty is unfolding before you. I am letting you see the tiny hairline cracks in the mask they have so carefully worn all this time, fractures that seem meaningless now, but will one day streak long like lightning across a dry sky. I know you have faintly heard that there are those who want to reach into your home, to shift the foundation stones by clever wording in documents and twisted speech. But my child, do not call this merely ambition. Hidden beneath that ambition is a trembling they always try to conceal, the fear that you will rise, the fear that you will grow stronger, the fear that you will claim back fully what has been yours from the beginning. When fear begins to scheme, it invites counterfeit cleverness to join it. And so that trembling hand tries to move boundary markers, shuffle papers, arrange sentences so that darkness can pass itself off as light. I see them spinning very small details into a different story, and I see you confused, asking yourself where you went wrong. Do not be quick to blame your heart, nor hasty to accuse your eyes. I am still here, my hand on your shoulder, teaching you to look deeper into the way darkness operates. It exaggerates trivial things. It gathers scattered fragments to cast a mold, then persuades listeners that this molded block is your true likeness. Do not rush to protest with a loud voice. There are things that need only a long breath, a quiet pause, and a slow, clear sentence. And truth will spring up by itself like a blade of grain meeting the rain. I let you hear the whispers behind tightly closed doors, where they mention your name in a flat tone, where a few everyday habits are bent into distorted reels of film. They talk about how you arrange things, how you come and go. They comment on your way of life as if they had lived in your place for a whole year. And then they set a solemn soundtrack beneath those clips to make them look like evidence. That is fear's worn-out technique. Construct a fragile image of its target. Sow it into the ears of enough people, and wait for repetition to do the rest. But my child, an image fashioned by fear can hardly stand in the light. It is like a stretched shadow cast by a lamp set askew. And as soon as the lamp is turned back to true alignment, that distorted shadow shrinks and disappears. Let me be the one who adjusts the light. I will teach you to tidy your desk, to put your files in order, even the drawer you have long been reluctant to open for fear of the mess. And when everything is returned to its proper place, you will see that you are not empty-handed. You have notes. You have dates and times. You have simple yet accurate records. You have silent witnesses in the steady rhythm of day after day. Do not be surprised when I tell you that orderliness is also a kind of armor. A well-kept file is how truth walks without stumbling. As you learn to present things clearly without showiness, that closed door will have to open a crack, and once it does, fresh air will find its way in. I know you once wanted to settle everything with a few direct conversations, but sometimes damp grass cannot be set alight immediately. I will wait for the right drops of sunlight before I let you strike the match. That means you will not run after every rumor, will not correct every short or long remark, will not pour your strength into a battlefield chosen by others. You will change the battlefield from reactive to proactive, from guessing to verifying, from impulsive to steadfast. You will write down what is necessary. Name each item. Mark each day. You will personally check the locks on the doors. Review the contracts. Reread the clauses once agreed upon. You will see who has what authority, who does not, which boundaries are being nudged outward, and which fences need to be reset straight. Whatever is unclear, you place in the awaiting verification drawer, instead of hastily throwing it into the my fault drawer. In this way, you give truth a corridor in which to walk, and you force darkness to show its evasive eyes when questioned directly. I am not asking you to become suspicious. I am asking you to become a calm gatekeeper, opening when it is right, closing when it is fitting, and requesting documentation when necessary. No voice will be able to lead the crowd with tragic rhythms when they stand before a gate that knows how to count, to record, to remember, and to invite the light in. And you will see that with each orderly stone you set in place, the storm inside you sinks a notch lower, and the noise from outside fades on its own. You will also choose new words, neither heavy with defensiveness nor filled with shouting or self-torment. You will speak with the voice of one whose water supply flows from within. You will recount events in order, adding no color, taking away no lines. You will point out the items that need verification, invite those responsible to review them with you, and propose a timeline for resolution so that all sides may be transparent. The way you stand, the way you sit, the way you set your pen down on the table is itself a kind of language. It says that you are not panicked, that you have a support, a measure, and a shade in which to stand. You will not use anger to push back suspicion. You will use ordered patience to dissolve doubt. In the midst of all the whispers, you will hear my voice clearly. Slow your step by half a beat, and you will see my hand resting on the third. That third beat is the moment when truth finds its footing before those who once shook their heads. When the tabletop is flat enough, the glass will stop rolling. When the story is bright enough, the gap will remain at its true size. And you, instead of being swept away, will stand where you are and watch the last layer of dust fall, revealing the real grain of the wood. There will come a moment when they see that their tricks no longer make you sway. Then their fear will change its form. Before, fear urged them to manipulate in order to conceal. Now fear will urge them to seek a way to negotiate. You will not need to pressure or humiliate them. You simply remain in the place of one entrusted a steward of resources and of the home. Not by force, but by integrity. You set fair conditions, require clarifying steps, insist that every change be documented, and reaffirm the boundaries once agreed upon. You do not rush to forgive in a way that erases all traces, for true forgiveness never means abandoning principle. You forgive so that your heart is not poisoned, but the work still must proceed on the right path. This is how you keep the channel of grace open without lifting the lid for carelessness. Faced with a counterpart accustomed to maneuvering in the dark, you invite them into the open field, to play under the sun, according to rules that have a referee. If they refuse to come out, you will call in an independent third party, and you are ready to sign your name under the light of public scrutiny. In that open place, fear will have to introduce itself by name, and when it does, it will bow its head in shame. I want you to see one more thing clearly. This incident is not just a case that needs handling. It is a field classroom where you learn the skills of building a higher floor for yourself and for those you love. You learn to create simple yet protective processes, from filing documents systematically and scheduling regular checkups for important matters to recording decisions after each discussion so that no one can alter the wording tomorrow. You also learn the language of respect that is gentle yet firm, knowing how to listen to each side without letting them overstep, knowing how to seek common ground without losing the landmarks. As these skills sink into you, they become part of your identity. People will sense in you the fragrance of stability, and that stability will make them less eager for scheming. Bait cannot catch a fish that has learned to swim both near the shore and out in the deep in the same way. Plots cannot easily ensnare a person who knows how to shift between near and far, soft and firm, speaking and keeping silence. According to the rhythm I teach, I turn the contrary wind into a sail, the pit into a step, a season of scrutiny into an opportunity for you to rearrange your whole house, inside and out. Therefore, when this matter is closed, you will not return to the old line. You will stand on a new level ground, seeing farther, wider, and more clearly. My child asked me, "When will the turning point come?" I told you, the turning point comes when you are no longer forced to prove yourself, and time and results speak on your behalf. Then those who once doubted will see that the days you lived in order have borne good fruit. Doors that once stayed shut will crack open to invite you back in, as one who returns not as a beggar, but as a steady, rightful keeper of the home. What belongs to you will be restored to its place, but not in its old form. It will return in a new frame, where the joints have been reinforced, where the doorway has been fitted with a safer lock, where the foundation has been protected from damp. You will sit again in your own seat without boasting, without bitterness, simply smiling, because you know I led you through the dark by teaching you how to light a lamp. And when you put your hand to the work that has been waiting, you will feel a strange current of air, light yet deep, warm yet clear, gentle yet strong. It is the air of a higher altitude, where one has passed through storms without letting bitterness harden inside the heart. From that height, you can look back on the journey as you would at a framed painting, and whisper, "So the very thing they meant to use to pull me down has become the footing that helped me grow. But stay with me for one more beat, for I still have something important to place within your chest. Do not let this story end as a victory on the surface. Let it end deeper, you becoming one who lifts others. You will meet people standing at the edge, just as you once stood there, hands trembling around a few sheets of paper, ears still ringing from the whispers, eyes burning from sleepless nights. You will know how to offer them a cup of water. Sit beside them and go through each line. Show them how to arrange their documents. Teach them to speak slowly, and train them to look straight ahead without acting on impulse. You will pass on what you have just received, not as a dry lesson, but as a warm blanket laid across their shoulders. When you do, you will understand more deeply why I allowed this to happen, so the blessing would not stop with you, but pass through you into many other homes. And one day, people will speak your name, not because of the trouble that once occurred, but because of the peace you bring into other people's troubles. That is the true peak of a blessed turning point, not only restoration, but multiplication. Not only rising again, but raising others, not only reclaiming, but sharing. So hold my hand tighter and keep walking in these steady steps. They may still try to cover things with a few final curtains, but the last curtain is always the thinnest before it is pulled aside. They may still speak a few frozen phrases, but frozen words melt when laid under sunlight. I will send signs that only a calm heart can hear, the slight shift of a roof tile, a hinge that needs oil, mortar gone dry for lack of water. When you can hear these small things, you will mend them in time, and the house will be more beautiful than it was before the wind changed direction. You do not need to display your cleverness. Let your life do the advertising. You do not need to drive away every doubt. Let your order do that work. You do not need to seek noise to prove anything. Let the sound of a broken mask hitting the ground be the climax. And when the last shard touches the floor, you will not bend down to pick it up and scold it. You will sweep it away. Open the window. Let the sun in. Brew a pot of tea. And take a long breath. That breath is the declaration of one who has crossed over, has understood, has grown, and is ready for what comes next. I stand beside you. watching sunlight spread across the freshly cleaned floor. The warmth of wood rising like congratulations. You lift your eyes and no longer see a low ceiling. You look outward and see the sky newly opened. There. You walk no longer feeling your way. You form a very small smile, but certain. And I, the one who has kept you, will go with you, never missing a beat. Stay in this rhythm of breath a little longer, for I did not awaken you so you would turn away halfway. What I have just shown you is only the first step of something deeper opening before your eyes. Like a thin curtain tugged aside by the wind, so that light can slip into the very place where you once trembled most. You thought they aimed at your roof only for its visible value. But I am letting you understand what they crave is not in bricks and tiles, nor in a paper of ownership. What they want is the right to hold the reins of your life. When they can touch your point of support, they believe they can bend your decisions, control your steps, manipulate the peace you enjoy, and make you cautious even inside the space that should have been safe. They do not only want to take, they want to grip, to put you in a position where you must ask permission for the most ordinary things, to make you doubt yourself, to wear you down until you are always explaining. They imagine that once you are pushed out of the place you call home, your voice will grow smaller, your heart will soften into surrender, and you will accept unfairness just to have quiet. But my child, I have seen the root of that intent, and I tell you in a voice, gentle yet steady as stone, they have made a serious mistake, because they do not know what you were formed from, and they do not know on which side I stand. Do not rush to think, Father, then what must I do? Because, even as you ask, I am leading you into wisdom, not panic. I do not give you wakefulness, so you lose sleep in fear, but so you open your eyes in peace and walk with order. Those who want to bind you through control often rely on a very subtle weapon, silence and vagueness. They make everything slick as oil, words sweet as honey, arranging it so you hesitate to question, hesitate to recheck, hesitate to ask for clarity. They want you to believe there's no need to complicate things, that someone's already handling it, that it's a small matter, and little by little, you hand your right to decide into their palms without noticing. But I am the one who sees through the glossy paint of speech. I see the corners they try to hide behind borrowed confidence. And I will not have you fight with emotion. I will teach you to use light, clarity, and steadiness. You will not need to shout for people to hear. You will only need to stand in the right place, speak the right thing, take the right step, and let truth raise its own voice. Now listen to what I am about to reveal, not as a performance to satisfy curiosity, but as a map so you know where you stand on the road of restoration. There is a very particular moment that often comes when the deceiver believes everything is neatly held in the palm of their hand. It is then that I begin to touch the smallest seams of the plan they have built. I do not always bring it down with thunder. Sometimes I only send a wind strong enough to shift a sheet of paper, enough to delay an appointment, enough for someone who was indifferent to suddenly sense something is not right. You will see unexpected delays appear like small pebbles that throw off a wheel rolling too fast. You will see unplanned questions being asked not by the prideful, but by those whose conscience I awaken. You will see numbers, deadlines, signatures, things that seem to fit, show their misalignment like a stitch unraveling on a newly sewn garment. You will see them grow restless because nothing runs as smoothly as they calculated. Their confidence will lose its edge. Their tone will reveal cracks. And you will realize once light has entered, darkness cannot swagger as it did before. I do not need much. One fracture is enough. and the entire false wall will begin to split. Remember this: those who seek control often depend on the victim's hurried rhythm. They create pressure of time, demanding you decide now, sign now, agree now, because they fear you will become calm enough to look again. But I will slow that rhythm down. I will place in you a composure that unsettles them, because they are used to steering the rushed, not facing someone who knows how to stop at the right moment. When you refuse to be dragged into their speed, you begin to see the true face of what is happening. You will see who pushes urgently, who avoids explaining, who will not provide clear evidence. You will see promises that sound lovely but cannot stand when held up to specific questions. And the moment you choose to move slowly yet surely, their plan built on murkiness loses its ground. Because light only needs patience to do its work. You do not need to become suspicious, you only need to become discerning. Loving truth more than temporary comfort. I will also teach you something very practical, yet still wholly love clarity the way you love peace. Clarity does not make you cold, it makes you safe. When you ask for transparency, you do not insult anyone. You simply return everything to its rightful order. And order is where peace takes root. You will learn to verify what you have heard, compare what was promised, keep what must be kept, and ask the right person in the right place. You will learn to set boundaries with a gentle voice that does not retreat, like a gatekeeper standing straight-backed, not harsh, and not easily bypassed. As you do this, I will use your uprightness as a mirror, and crooked things will show themselves. They will begin to stumble. For those who live in vagueness fear most, a soul that knows how to ask and knows how to wait for an answer. The calmer you become, the harder it is for them to hide. The clearer you are, the fewer places they have to take cover, and when they lose cover, they must reveal themselves. My child, I know the word power can weigh on your heart, because you only want a quiet life, only want to do ordinary things without anyone pulling your strings. But precisely because you long for peace, I will not let you be bent by oppression. You were not born to be controlled, nor were you made to shrink in fear. I placed dignity in you. I placed a voice in you. I placed in you the strength to stand. People may think you are weak because you are gentle, think you are silent because you dislike noise, but I know your gentleness does not mean you are easy to bully. Your silence is not surrender. Often, it is the moment you are holding your heart in me, so you can choose the right words at the right time. And this is where they are wrong. They measure you by the world's ruler, winning and losing, gaining and losing, cunning and advantage. Yet, they do not see the hidden depth where I have refined you through days. You cried, and still did not lose faith. Through nights you were tired, and still would not release goodness. They think you will collapse when your shelter is touched, but they do not know your true shelter is not only four walls. Your true shelter is where I am with you, and where I am, no scheme wins easily. Now look a little further at how I caused that plan to fall apart on its own. Plotters often build everything as a straight line, hoping that if they follow each step correctly, they will reach their goal. But I do not need to knock them down all at once. I only need to turn one step in that straight line into a detour. Someone they believed would surely stand with them suddenly grows cautious. A meeting they expected to go smoothly is rescheduled. A stamp they thought was ready now requires additional documents. A clause they assumed no one would read closely is suddenly examined. You will see them forced to explain more, forced to conceal more. And the more they conceal, the more they expose themselves. You will see them say one thing today and another tomorrow, You will see the words they used to lull you now become loose threads on a garment sewn in haste. I use these seemingly small details like sand caught in gears, not exploding the machine, but throwing off the timing, making it scrape, making it jam until even those standing nearby can hear that something is wrong. And when many begin to hear it, the truth is no longer a doubt inside your heart. It becomes an obvious thing that anyone can recognize. There is one more thing I want you to hold close in your heart when I reveal things. I do not reveal them only to you, I reveal them to them as well. For there are people who awaken only when they see their own hearts exposed in the light. When their plan is no longer sealed, they begin to worry about preserving their name, preserving their face. And that very worry makes them stumble into mistake after mistake. Do not blame yourself if you once trusted them, because trust is not a sin. What matters is that, from today, you place your trust in truth, not in appearances. Do not humiliate yourself for having a tender heart, because a tender heart is what I love. Only let that heart be guided by wisdom, and it will no longer be used against you. I am teaching you a mature way of loving, to love without blindness, to trust without handing your power of decision to another, to be generous yet with boundaries, to be gentle yet not abandon yourself. And if you ask me, Father, how will I know when their plan has truly collapsed? I will answer, when you see that they begin to lose the ability to control your emotions. Before, they could make you frantic, hurried, afraid. But soon you will notice that no matter what they say, there is still a quiet space within you to think. When they threaten, you do not panic. When they reassure, you do not rush to believe. When they pressure you, you can still say, I need time to review this. That quiet space is the sign that I am rebuilding your footing. And from that steady footing, you will begin to act rightly. Without drama, you will verify. You will document. You will seek trustworthy counsel. You will walk in transparency. This is the wonder. The more transparent you become, the less afraid you are. The less afraid you are, the clearer you are. The clearer you are, the harder you are to manipulate. And so the trap they set, built on fear, begins to turn back and bite them, because fear is no longer in their hands. My beloved child, I am not saying these things so you will live in tension, but so you will recognize that truth is standing with the light. I want you to feel heaven's gentle support in the ordinary details, a call answered at just the right time, a document suddenly requested for cross-checking, a question that seems casual yet strikes straight at the weak point of a lie. These are not coincidences. They are small streams I open to put out a smoldering fire before it flares. Keep walking in peace and in wisdom, for the further you go, the more clearly you will see you are not running from danger. You are being led into a blessed turning point. I will return stability to you in ways you do not expect. I will restore your voice without you having to strain. And I will open a new chapter where you no longer live merely to endure, but live to stand firm. You need only keep your heart upright and your eyes open. Because light does not only expose darkness, light also teaches you how to build a home that no one can easily steal, a home of order, of truth, of holy boundaries, and of peace that comes from me. Listen closely. Child, do not miss even the faintest tremor within, because I am opening a fine, precise thread for you to see through the woven cloth of what is happening. Those around it begin to notice colors that do not match, words that sound rehearsed, concerns that taste bland and lack sincerity. They are surprised that your name keeps repeating in its conversations. They wonder why it is pushing paperwork so urgently, why decisions are being moved in the shadows behind your back. And from there, in stillness, suspicion grows without fanfare. Witnesses, it once steered, begin to turn back, and you remain to the very end, because that mask cannot survive what is about to be revealed. But hear me, child. I am not calling you to watch with satisfaction. I am inviting you to stand upright with a straight heart. For the light I kindle is not to burn people, but to heal, to set in order, and to bring all things back to their rightful place. I want you to keep your breathing slow. Place your hand on your chest. And remember that haste is a wind strong enough to throw any ship's helm off course. You will not need to say much. Only let my peace speak the first words for you. Peace will sharpen your eyes. Peace will teach your ears to distinguish a truthful tone from a recited voice. Peace will remind your mind of every timeline, every detail that seems ordinary, yet is the key. I am teaching you the art of moving slowly but surely. Do not attack. Ask questions. Do not speculate. Request transparency. Do not pour out anger. Keep careful records. For when you choose the language of clarity, darkness will have no dictionary to answer you, and the blurred places will expose their edges under the light. Do not be afraid when you realize some things have gone further than you thought. Truth may wear straw sandals, but it arrives without fail, while schemes may wear polished shoes, yet reveal their rhythm at the bend, and I am bringing you to that bend where words do not align, where a pause is placed wrong, where numbers do not match, where a story's cadence slips, where please don't worry sounds a little too smooth, and where a call that pretends concern accidentally reveals its real intent when it suddenly presses for speed. Prepare for yourself a clean space in your mind, a place to lay out each page, each draft, each message, each appointment, a place to piece them together like a map. Do not rush to build a conclusion. Only build the truth in sequence. And as for the ending, let me close it. I will also send to you faces that seem incidental, a colleague who suddenly asks permission to repeat what they heard, a clerk who unexpectedly spots an irregularity in the file, someone who was once silent, now wanting to cross-check, even someone who was pressured and now chooses to stand with what is right. You do not need to beg anyone to testify. Only be willing to receive their words. Treat them kindly. Respect what they fear. And protect them as you would want to be protected. In this way, the rope once used to bind others' mouths will snap because it has been pulled too tight by the very hand that used it. I give you a simple principle. Sharp as a carpenter's straight edge, anything that cannot stand in the light must not be allowed to stand in your life. Therefore, whenever someone presses you to sign now, close it immediately. No need to read carefully. Send into that quiet space a gentle but firm reply. I will review this with those responsible and follow a clear process. You are not fighting people, you are standing with principle. That principle will become a brick wall in place of a trembling shield, and they will realize you are not easily pushed. Do not worry if they call you difficult. In a home built to last, the one who oversees the electrical and plumbing must always be difficult about leaks. And you are building a house for peace to live in, not a flimsy hut for a season of grabbing and running. I know you are tired of hearing the same evasions again and again, but that place of weariness is where I pour in more strength. Drink in small sips of stillness. Count your heartbeat, and remember that a steady heartbeat keeps steady speech. One slow, clear, sufficient question will shine more light than 10 accusations. I will remind you of questions that do not attack, yet open the way. Who approved this? At what time? Which draft? What document number? Who received it? Who forwarded it? Why does your name need to appear here? What is the specific purpose? Who benefits? Where do the risks reach? What is the contingency plan? Who bears final responsibility? Ask calmly. For a scheme finds it hard to survive in the oxygen of details. If they dodge, repeat it in a lower voice. Like someone pointing at a map, I'm afraid I still don't understand. Please show me the route again. Then those watching will see the symmetry on one side. Smooth words without data. On the other, questions that require grounding. And in that symmetry, the shared balance of mind begins to tilt toward you. I will bring a small moment that becomes decisive. They accidentally use the same phrase they used with someone else. Or they offer a timeline that overlaps. Or they mention a person they previously insisted had no connection. You do not need to celebrate, only mark it. The first crack in the mask will be created by their own words. And from there it can no longer be lifted up and down at their will, because the fracture has gripped the bone of the text. Do not waste your strength on arguments. Pour your energy into doing what is right. Send an email confirming what was discussed. Clearly summarize the scope of responsibility. Invite the authorized person to join. Set checkpoints. Prepare your documents. You are not building a courtroom. You are opening the door to a well-lit workspace where everything is done in plain sight. If someone avoids it, the light will record it. If someone agrees, the light will safeguard it. And if someone speaks differently tomorrow, the light will cross-check for you. Do not fear that this process takes time. Time used to straighten a path is never wasted. While time spent chasing crookedness will burn your strength and take you nowhere, I am still there with you. Stacking each brick again. Hearing the hollow tap-tap. The solid click-click. And the firm thunk where things have finally fitted. Then there will come a moment when a third person enters the meeting and lays down a question as lightly as placing a leaf on a scale. Why must we hurry so much? That question itself is a blade that trims fat from muscle. Hurry because they fear truth. Hurry because they fear inspection. Hurry because they fear witnesses. Stand still and let the blade do its work. Do not flinch. Those who hear will hear. Those who see will see. And those once swept along will step back by a beat. Child, I also want your heart not to be stained by resentment. Let justice wear spiked shoes. And let mercy go barefoot. Justice will carve the straight road. Mercy will keep your feet from slipping. Therefore, when truth opens, loosen your grip on the need to win, and instead embrace the need to stand right. Standing right is victory enough, because from that place, good things will find the right door. If they repent, give them a way back with clear conditions. If they do not change, let process do its work. A house does not collapse because of feelings, it collapses because principles are loosened. Let the wind of emotion blow on the porch, and inside, bolt the door with order. I also want you to learn a new language, the language of for our shared future, instead of for saving face. When you choose the shared future, you will know how to be firm where needed and soft where fitting. You will know how to keep boundaries without turning them into walls. You will know how to open your hand without dropping the key. And you will know how to forgive without erasing the marks that become a lesson. Each time you do what is right, I build your foundation higher. People begin to look at you differently. They see that beside your kindness, there is also discipline. They entrust you with work that needs someone to keep balance. They invite you to the table when the table needs a clear voice, and through those invitations, I give you more trust to use for the common good. Don't think that blessing lives only in the final outcome. Blessing also lives in the new texture being formed in you, a steadiness that has been trained, a clarity that has been honed, a faith that has grown muscle. When these are woven together, wherever you go, you leave behind the fragrance of safety. My child, I know the road has not been short, yet at every bend, you have learned how to read the sky, how to listen for water, how to see footprints. That is why future storms no longer make you tremble as you once did. It is not because you are hardened that you do not shake. It is because you understand that you are not afraid, knowing that I am with you. Knowing that light owes darkness nothing. Knowing that wisdom will find its words. And knowing that clean hands will, in the end, clasp together to build what endures. When that mask falls away, I do not want your eyes to flare with glee. Let them soften with gratitude, grateful you did not break. Grateful you did not slip. Grateful that in unstable ground you found a new stance. From that stance, you give what you have received. You help others review documents before they sign. You remind them to verify before they put pen to paper. You teach them to ask questions that brighten the room. You stand with them to rebuild a gate with sturdy hinges, and so the trial that once meant to pull you down becomes a staircase for many to climb. I look at you and I rejoice, not because you beat someone, but because you conquered your own impatience. Impatience is always the most dangerous traitor. It takes your hand and pushes you into traps, and you have pulled your hand back. So keep going. My child, walk the path widened by integrity, with steps that are not rushed and yet do not retreat. Ahead of you, decent doors are opening, an invitation to collaborate from someone who once only watched, a role that preserves transparency offered to you because all can see you keep your balance, a chance to restore what has long been depleted, and even a quiet space for you to breathe without restlessness. Receive each of these like morning dew, not loud, not showy, just cool. Then share that dew with the garden beside you so their trees grow lush as well. Then you will understand more deeply, a secret I have always whispered: grace does not fall so you can clutch it in your hands. Grace falls so you can turn it into a stream. A stream that flows does not grow murky. A stream that stops gathers moss. Keep flowing through upright deeds, bright words, a tender heart, and a mind refined by discipline. And whenever you hear the footsteps of doubt returning, be at peace. Your house now has beams strong enough, brick walls laid straight, windows opening toward the light. The wind may blow, but it will only cool, no longer tear off the roof. I place my hand upon your head and whisper as the beginning of a new rhythm of song go. My child, go along the path you have trained yourself to recognize. Trials may visit again, but this time you have a map. You have a compass. You have the habit of calling light into the room before you do anything, and you have tasted the most beautiful thing when upheaval is placed into my hands. It becomes a foothold. A foothold set in the right place becomes a step. A step walked with others becomes a bridge. And that bridge, named peace, will carry you and many toward a wider shore of blessing. Be still and listen closely. Do not let your eyes and heart be distracted by the noise around you. For even in this very moment, I am drawing back the curtain that once obscured your view, so you can see a movement that is quiet yet decisive. I want you to stand still in my peace, because when you remain in the light, you will witness the board turn in a way no one can predict, the one who plotted to seize your foundation. Just as they think their hand is about to grasp what they crave, finds that very hand caught in the snare of their own making, and you, the one assumed to be weaker, are lifted up, not by noise, but by the gentle power of truth. You do not need to strain to save yourself. For I have been arranging pieces that once seemed scattered into their rightful place. There is someone watching in silence, someone not from the noisy side, and not hypnotized by fabricated stories. They have noticed small details others overlooked, heard the hesitations in the voice, seen the evasive glances, recognized the strange rhythm in those casual reminders. They have recorded dates, content, the mismatch between word and deed. They have kept messages, letters, notes, never intending to reveal them, because their heart chose peace over contention, until justice within them was awakened by the manipulator's excess, and now, like a wind changing direction, they are preparing to step into the light, speaking just enough at the right time, so every disguise falls away. You do not need to hold your breath in fear. Breathe in deeply and breathe out slowly, for that voice will not destroy you. Instead, it will shatter the mask cleverly painted to cover deceit. It does not need to scream. It only needs to lay out a coherent chain of truth, the inconsistencies, the overlapping timelines, the claims that cannot all be true, the baseless pressure that manufactures false urgency, the evidence trimmed and edited to steer emotions. The contradictions in the schemer's story will collapse on their own when faced with uncut facts. Do you see, I do not need a sledgehammer. I only need to open a window and let light pour in, and the dust will reveal itself. That witness does not take my place. They simply do what must be done, saying what should be said. At the moment I appoint, and when that word is released, the effect will ripple quickly like rings on water after a stone drops. The malicious one loses footing. Those who were deceived begin to wake, and you, your position and dignity are returned, not by sentiment, but by clarity. But my child, I tell you this when truth prevails. Do not let contempt bloom in you, and do not celebrate another's ruins. Truth is medicine, not a knife. It heals. It does not cut to show off wounds. Keep an unhurried, gentle spirit, so people know you belong to me. You do not need to claim credit or display trophies, for your reward is peace restored, honor made bright again, and a door once pushed shut, now opened for wholesome wind to pass through. I also want you to understand that quiet observer may be a neighbor who knows how to listen, a colleague with healthy intuition, a relative with a righteous heart, or sometimes even the conscience of someone on the other side who has grown weary of lies. I have 1,000 ways to bring evidence to the right place, including ways that cause the schemer's own mouth to confess through an error no one expects. Do not trouble yourself guessing who. Simply be ready to receive the outcome. Your part is to keep your words clean, your decisions transparent, your gestures gentle. So when truth steps forward, you have nothing to revise except to offer thanksgiving. My child, because you have learned patience, you will now see the sweet fruit of endurance. People who were once thrown into confusion will come to you to apologize. Eyes that once doubted, you will look with respect. Arms that once hesitated will reach out to cooperate. I give you new sight. You know what is worth guarding, what must be released, what should be strengthened, what boundaries must be set. You no longer react on impulse. You act by principle, and that principle is neither harsh nor lax. It is compassion with backbone, gentleness with foundation, strength that knows how to kneel before it stands. And you will see that the unveiling you have been waiting for will not explode like fireworks. It will open like dawn quiet. Yet, irresistibly, layers of cloud withdraw, Streaks of light stretch across rooftops. Corners of shadow retreat. And when the sun is up, people will wonder how they ever lived so long under such obvious light. This is how I work silently. Surely, undefeated. In that moment, I place 3 gifts into your hands first. Wisdom, so you do not repeat old missteps. Second, courage to set the right safety fences in the right places. Third, a tender heart, so you do not become a judge. I want you to use them to reinforce your home, reorder priorities, and standardize communication. You will write down principles that are simple yet strong dialogue before conclusions. Verify before believing. Pray before speaking. You will build habits of keeping records tidy, agreements clear, and promises kept. These small things, gathered together, become a foundation no whirlwind can lift. Do you remember before? I led you through the lesson of composure. Now comes the practicum when the witness steps forward. You neither add to it nor withdraw. You stand at your center so truth can speak for itself. You make room for justice and also leave space for mercy. For you know, my goal is not only to rescue you, but to stop the spiral of deception so others are not caught again. If you only want to win, you will stop at winning. But if you want to heal, I will carry you beyond winning into restoration. And restoration is the only victory that softens the heart. And I whisper this as well, the final moment is not the time to perform. Do not write a long story about yourself. And do not carve out a short piece about someone else to feed your ego. Keep silence enough not to wound. Speak enough for the upright to find a way out. Answer with calm. Look straight ahead. Voice slow. Eyes bright. Thank the one who spoke truth. But do not turn them into an idol. Release the one who harmed you. But do not invite them back into a position where they can harm again. Forgiveness is not unlocking the storehouse. Forgiveness is unlocking the heart. The storehouse key still remains in the hand of a faithful steward. And that steward is you. From today, the rhythm of your life will shift in subtle ways. You will wake a little earlier to touch stillness. You will review what you manage with a fresh kind of delight. You will write reminders long enough to remember and short enough to do. You will recognize which calls to take, which to return later, and which to leave unanswered. You will taste the gentle flavor of peace that is no longer fragile, and in that gentleness, you will hear me whisper, "Go on, I am here." Then someone will ask you for your secret, and you will only smile, because you know there is no formula, only a path. Learn to remain under the light, not defending the darkness in yourself, not covering the darkness in others. You remember how I saved you from the need to win and feel satisfied. You remember how I gave you the joy of being right and being at peace. When you choose right for peace, you have fewer enemies than you thought, because most conflicts are born from the hunger to prove oneself, not the hunger to heal. Quietly, you become a natural keeper of safety wherever your footsteps arrive. Others feel steadier wherever your words stop. The storm inside the listener quiets there, and that is the mark I place upon you, the mark of one who has passed through thunder without carrying thunder within. I will also use this experience to rebuild your honor in a way more durable than before, not with a brief, dazzling flare, but with a chain of consistent days. You are steadfast. You are reliable. You are kind. People will invite you to tables where weighty matters are decided, not because you are loud, but because they know you do not sell the truth cheaply. Doors that once screeched before you now open smoothly, because the dust of suspicion has been wiped away by decent work, and among new invitations, You learn the art of saying yes to what is right and no to what does not belong. You choose assignments that fit your grace, not noise that flatters your ego. You are not fooled into thinking every admiring gaze is light. You know there are stage lights, but you prefer the early morning sun, the light that does not shine on you, but shines through you. And one more thing, I know your heart is compassionate. So I remind you, do not let trust become gullibility. Mercy does not mean looseness. Love does not mean lack of discipline. Keep establishing processes, aligning ways of working, defining responsibility, sharing risk. Invite everyone into a transparent way of living so no one is left alone to bear the weight. Lift the weaker by action, not only by words. Make room for those who misstepped to amend their ways. Yet keep the whole community safe. That is love with order. And that order allows blessing to remain. At the end of this road, when you stand upon ground that has been reinforced, you will look back and no longer see a maze, only a path that has been cleared. The one who meant to push you out has exposed themselves. Their scheme has rotted in the air of truth. The witness no longer has to carry the weight, for they have done what was needed. You no longer have to carry the weight, for you chose what was right. And I, the one who held your hand through the long miles, now place within you a new stillness, the stillness of one who understands they were chosen to stand firm. Not to intimidate, lifted up. Not to retaliate, entrusted with more. Not to clutch it tight, but to share it at the right time, in the right place, with the right people. From here, you move forward with a gait that is gentle yet sure, owing no one anything except love, fearing nothing except the possibility of losing my voice, regretting nothing except the moments wasted on darkness. And each day, when you open the door, you see the sky as if it were new. Because something great has happened, truth has found its voice again. Justice has found its path again. And you have found your own roots again in my arms. Do not turn away too quickly. For even in the moment that seems ordinary, I am delicately shifting each invisible gear to reveal a larger picture to the naked eye can hardly see. The one they believe to be a quiet support will be the very voice that opens the hidden door, not with noise, not out of vengeance, but because a truth pushed into a corner has reached the season when it must step out. You will see it unfold the way dawn needs no drumbeat. At first, only a thin, pale band at the horizon. Then the light quietly increasing until the whole sky is radiant. Scattered stories. Conversations that seem inconsequential. Details forgotten in a notebook. Even the crossed-out lines on a draft, all of it will merge into a coherent current that dissolves the fog of deceit. I need no one to show off. I need only a straight heart willing to stand in the right place at the right hour. And that person, one who once shared the table with them, once heard their scheming, once believed silence was safety, will now see more clearly, understand more deeply, and then bravely set a real stone at the center of the room, a stone named truth. When that stone touches down, the floor, once built upon rotten wood, begins to tremble, and the four walls can no longer hold their counterfeit sturdiness. The manipulator tries to paste on a smile, yet the corners of the eyes slip downward, the hands tremble slightly, the words stumble, and in the very moment they think they have secured the victory, the joints they have long hidden loosen and show themselves like cracks under harsh noon light. Stand still in my heart, and do not panic at the noise when the curtain is ripped away. There, you will see how I place each small event into the next, like fitting pieces of stained glass. What seemed meaningless will reflect into a shimmering mosaic, telling a story no one can deny. I know you are weary from having to explain again and again. weary from staying calm beneath crooked looks, weary from whispers traveling down hallways and landing on your back. But your work now is no longer to argue your case. Your work is simply to breathe, so that I may act by my way. You will recognize the signs when they arrive. A door once shut in silence suddenly swings with a clatter. A call that seems like a wrong number carries a key recording. An old email holds a timestamp that cannot be altered, or a calendar bears pen strokes pressed over and over until history exposes its error. Then another witness, once the quiet one who brewed tea. The secretary seated at the far end of the table. The driver waiting outside the gate suddenly feels the need to speak truth because conscience will not allow sleep any longer. They will not stand with you because you persuaded them. They will stand with you because the growing light sharpens everyone's sight. That light does not come from tricks, but from my hand parting the clouds, from my breath moving across a dry field so the grass bends in a single direction, the direction of truth. And when that direction is clear, every winding step will reveal its own tracks. The plan to seize your home, which seems so tightly bound, will snap like a cord pulled too hard. The private conversations in dim cafes, the agreements passed behind backs, the promises of dividing spoils whispered in elevators, all will be dragged into daylight. And under daylight, each word suddenly loses its magic of concealment. Those who once laughed loudly will search one another's eyes and dare not meet them. Like actors reaching the final scene only to realize the script has been changed. While the audience is waiting for an honest ending, you will stand there without needing to point a finger, without needing to throw anything back. Falling away from you is the compulsion to clear your name with a raised voice. What remains in you is the steadiness of one who knows they have been seen. When they stammer, documents will knock. When they shift blame back and forth, timelines will appear. When they insist, never, a quiet witness will say, I was there. None of this is coincidence. As people name whatever exceeds their understanding, it is the careful arrangement of the master craftsman, the one who set the stars in their near and distant courses, so that even a night of falling stars holds meaning. How much more? Then, the matter of your home. Do not blink, not because you fear missing a spectacular moment, but because you are entering a finer state of peace, a state that misses no small sign and also does not strain for a grand one. You simply watch, and in that watching gratitude quietly sprouts like young grass after the first summer rain. The long days behind you were not wasted. They sharpened your hearing for what is true, taught your feet to avoid slippery ground, taught your hands to stop gripping what was never worth clenching. And so, when the whirlwind shows its face, you are not blown away. You stand like a tree with deep roots, feeling wind pass through each leaf without breaking the trunk. I will show you one more thing, so your stillness grows deeper. The one who once pushed you outside the wall will halt in the yard. No longer with smooth words, no longer with calculations enough. Be silent for one beat to hear my breath running through this story. The arrogant one imagines the script has been stitched shut, pages stacked in order, words neatly painted over, a confident smile laid upon every movement, as if nothing could ever tilt the wheel of intention. Yet precisely at the point they believe to be the final clincher, a small question rises calm, direct, and coming from the person they thought was safely within their control, and the carefully arranged curtain begins to crumple. I see your eyes pause in surprise. Yet a warm current also passes through you. Because you recognize how I rarely work with noise, I plant a question mark like a bright speck of dust in a room heavy with deceit. And that speck, seemingly harmless, carries enough weight to tug down an entire drape. Why don't your words match the document, a line as light as tapping a fingernail on a tabletop? and every scheme suddenly wobbles. Why would the authorized person not know a question that sounds like procedure? And yet that heart skips a beat. Why is this signature strange? One more pen stroke out of tune, and the wall begins to smell of damp rot. I stand there, not announcing with thunder, only opening the window for morning light to slip in, so the dust in the air traces its own path, forcing those long used to living in shade to squint at clarity. Do not rush, for truth moves like water threading through stone, silent, steady-handed, unhurried yet unstoppable, until one moment comes when the rock thought immovable breaks loose and falls away, revealing the real ground beneath. Then you will understand why I taught you patience, why I urged you to keep your voice calm, why I led you through long nights without asking you to shout, because what must speak loudly is not your throat, but the evidence time engraves upon the surface of events. When someone's eyes open because one detail does not fit, the whole chain of lies becomes like a rope whose knot has slipped. One person pulls another, one line tugs the next, and the fragments once forced into a straight line begin to show their natural bends. I allow another person, someone positioned close enough to the core of the matter, to step forward with a small patch of material. No more than an old email, a receipt missing a name, a note written with the wrong date, and even that alone is enough to make a house built of rotten wood squeal before it collapses. When that happens, remember to keep your breathing steady, because your work is not to noisily dust everything off for the whole world to see, but to stand still where I have placed you, eyes forward, hands ready to open the pages that belong to you, voice free of bitterness and full of clarity. I will bring still others, sometimes a quiet employee with a meticulous work log, sometimes a gentle neighbor who witnessed a furtive handoff on a rainy afternoon. They are not dramatic saviors. They are simply the right pieces in the right places. Each piece fits one corner. The picture becomes straight again, and what was twisted for so long takes on its original shape. The self-assured one will unconsciously step back, then back again, not knowing that the ground beneath their feet has been hollowed out since the first lie. Only now does it finally sound empty. I know your heart trembles for a moment, both relieved and afraid, as if everything were a broken beat that could crack the entire song. But place your hand on your chest and listen. The rhythm remains steady when you lean into me. You do not need to defeat anyone. You do not need to tense your arms to seize what is right. You only need to remain in the straight path, and the straight path will carry its own strength. Truth does not win by lever and tone. It stands up by its own weight, while lies always need to be carried by a new story, a new secret. One more person dragged in, and for that reason, they grow tired. I want you less tired by refusing to carry the burden of the deceitful. Return every fact to its proper place, and let the facts speak for you. If any page of yours is missing a word, I will remind you. If any word needs explaining, I will place on your lips language that is clear enough without wounding anyone needlessly. Do you see? My way of clearing the road has never required a roar. I teach you to clean one corner of the table, then one drawer, then open a window to let the dampness out. And suddenly the room is airy enough that any visitor stepping in can tell they ought to speak the truth. And very soon, the one the other trusted as an ally will turn back not with a hammer of judgment, but with eyes that have finally seen what must be seen. They will ask one more question people tend to avoid, because asking it alone is enough to strike the hard core of the story. Whose approval is missing from this procedure, and a hollow space appears exactly where everything seemed most solid. From that hollow, many small dots push into the light. like a school of tiny fish surfacing for air, and once at the surface, they refuse to sink again. I let you watch dawn rise by the rhythm of logic, not by anyone's personal wishes. You understand that the sun rises at its own hour, and no one can stop it. What you need now is to pour calm into every action present, everything fully. Add nothing. Subtract nothing. Speak only your part. Yield what is not yours. Do not set anyone up for needless shame. For I do not need you to win by stripping another bare. I need you to stand with the well-kept garments of dignity. And when you stand that way, the other side will feel the contrast between the weight of truth and the clattering sound of lie fragments breaking apart. The trial begins to change its shape. It no longer looks like a wall blocking your way, but like a steep slope that gives you momentum. Each step you take is recorded not in the fleeting minutes of emotion, but in the travel log of your inner life. There, pages titled Anger are replaced by Direction. The entry rush becomes arrangement, and the column Need to Win gradually becomes Need to Be Right. I see your shoulders drop by a degree. Your exhale lengthen. Your eyes less on the verge of hot tears. Because you have learned the art of courage without noise, gathering all your energy to keep the path straight rather than building a prettier facade. I crack open doors you thought were bolted shut. Not so you can charge in, but so you can pass through with the walk of one who has been invited. And in that walk, you feel how what once tried to steal your home now becomes the steps leading up to your porch, where you sit in peace, watching the rain pass without running from it. People will ask how you can be at peace when your name is pulled back and forth. When pages that seemed simple suddenly become disputes, you will smile, not because you are so good at enduring, but because you have seen my hand grasp the end of the thread and pull with the right force. So the yarn winds back into a ball instead of unraveling. I do not demand that you become a saint without feelings. I only teach you to name your feelings and place them in the right drawer so they do not occupy the whole house. You will still feel sadness, still feel cramped at first, but you know to carry that sadness into a private room of prayer instead of throwing it out onto the porch to scold wind and rain. You will still feel anger when insulted, but you know to wash your hands in the basin of truth before touching anything that involves another person. Strangers will appear bearing kindness without trumpets, a reputable lawyer who prefers to listen before speaking, an upright official brave enough to say, "Let me review the file," an old acquaintance who suddenly sends a photograph from years ago with a marker that loosens the knot. They come like small drops of oil on a dry hinge, and the door that once creaked begins to swing gently. You may think the reward is simply regaining what belongs to you, but I want you to recognize a deeper reward. You regain the way you stand, the way you speak, the way you breathe. You learn how to ask the right question at the right time and how to be silent at the necessary moment. You stop needing applause to believe you are upright. No one can steal that quality anymore, because it is written into the muscles of your soul. And when quality becomes reflex, you naturally become an example for others on the road. They see a kind of strength that does not wound, a kind of steadfastness that does not require tearing someone down. I will open a path for you to reach new roles, perhaps a connector of lives that seem scattered, perhaps a supporter of another roof now shaking, perhaps one who rekindles trust in a group whose trust has been shattered, because anyone once rescued from the edge by a wooden ladder will know how to tie the rope more securely for the one who comes after. Then, on a bright noon, when you are no longer staring at the storm, people will invite you to sign a record returning what was always yours. No fanfare, no fireworks, only a pen placed in the right spot, a nod, a handshake, and a line, "Sorry for the inconvenience." You will realize that justice does not always step onto a podium. Sometimes it takes the long way around the neighborhood and knocks softly at the door. You hold the key in your hand. The cool metal, like a reminder, the value is not in the metal, but in the right to open the door someone once tried to pry at, and deeper still, in your ability to use that key to open your heart into forgiveness in the right measure, without bitterness, without weakening yourself. Forgiveness does not erase responsibility. It simply refuses to let your soul remain chained to an old story. And when your soul is free, you use that freedom to rebuild the structure of the house, clear boundaries, tidy papers, transparent agreements, a clean threshold. You will invite your family to sit around the table and speak in a voice gentle yet steady from now on. Every major decision will pass across this table. Every important document will have a copy kept here. Every unfamiliar call will be written down, not because you suspect everyone, but because you love one another enough to build a frame for peace. The children will learn the art of telling the truth from the way you explain without staining anyone's name. Your life partner will sense that your shoulders are no longer braced, your hands no longer clenched. The look in your eyes now, whole. You will mend a corner of the door frame, brush a thin coat of paint over the scratch, lay one more tile on the steps, not to forget, but to remember rightly. The incident that once threatened to swallow you has become a strong vein in the stone beneath your feet. And at night, when the streets are quiet, you will turn on a small light in the kitchen. Pour tea. Rest your hand on the cool tabletop and whisper thanks that this time I have turned an almost fall into a real step upward. I want you to know this story does not end with getting things back. It opens with the grace of gratitude. You will judge less quickly, care less about winning and losing, trust shortcuts less. You will gain the habit of verifying, the capacity to listen, the courage to say, "I need time." Those additions and subtractions shape a new manner, calm yet bright, gentle yet firm, soft yet unbreakable. And that very manner is the greatest blessing, for it goes with you everywhere and no one can take it away, even if the coveting of others flares up again. If one day someone tries to push you again, you will not shake as before, not because the situation is easier, but because you have a different skeleton within. That is the gift I place in your marrow. It does not appear in a selfie, but it is stamped on your daily habits. So do not leave the story when the knot first appears. Stay to see it untied by a gentleness that has discipline. Do not overlook the small signs, for those very signs are the lines I write in the margin to guide you to read the right sentence. Do not be afraid when the paint flakes at the base of the wall, for that is when I am pointing out where it needs to be plastered again. Do not hesitate to withdraw from quarrels, for one less loud sentence is one more solid piece of fact. And whenever you feel the wind change direction too quickly, remember, I am steering your sail toward deep water, where the surface is less choppy and the boat moves faster. As long as the hand on the helm is steady and the eyes look straight ahead, then you will tell this journey to those who come after, not to boast, but to fertilize the soil of their hope. You will show them how to keep a heart on fire while keeping hands cool, how to love your home without turning suspicious, how to be steadfast yet still bow before truth. Above all, you will be grateful that what evil meant to use to push you down has become the rise of the step you climb, and more grateful still that all along the way I have not let go of your hand for a single moment. Sleep in peace tonight. Your home stands firm. Your name is clean. And in the coming season you will plant more than you ever dared to ask for. Do not take your eyes off what I am about to say, For just when the curtain of lies seems sewn shut, a witness who has quietly stood outside the whirlwind suddenly steps forward and lays in the middle of the room a single piece of evidence, yet enough to lock the whole fabrication in place. A detail sharp as a blade, so precise that every shady argument falls away, and every excuse collapses like a wall whose plaster has rotted. Whispers in the crowd fall silent. Eyes turn in the same direction, and the one who meant to steal your home stands frozen like a statue, unable to tug a single thread from the tangle they themselves have spun. In that moment, without any thunderclap, my justice resounds through perfect silence, like a lake that has felt the wind and then suddenly lies still. Right there, where papers have been shuffled, signatures abused, seals twisted out of shape, the truth returns to its rightful place, bright enough for everyone to understand, warm enough that you do not feel alone. I lay my hand on your shoulder, not telling you to shout for joy, but reminding you to draw a deep breath. Look straight ahead, nod gently to the one who spoke up, and know that I saw everything, that I arranged the path of that detail through many obstacles so it could arrive on time. And after the pin that had covered the clock face is pulled out, time suddenly returns to its rightful rhythm. The scales are balanced. Documents are reviewed with clear eyes. Those in authority know what they must do, and the legal path runs free. Like a stream cleared of stones, you are given back your good name. The house no longer lives on edge. The room floods with light, not because more lamps are switched on, but because the shadow of suspicion has dissolved. What you need next is not a long speech to prove you were right, but the composure of someone who has been given back, the key a steady hand as you turn the doorknob, a tender heart as you step across the threshold that once trembled, and a kind enough smile that everyone knows there will be no retaliation here, only a homecoming. From that moment, the invisible cords that tied you to exhaustion are loosened bit by bit. The work that needs doing is actually simple, but requires care. You sit down to check each document, store them in boxes with the right labels, note the dates, call someone knowledgeable to confirm once more, and place copies in a safe place. Not because you are afraid, but because you have learned the discipline of someone who knows how to guard a blessing. At the same time, you speak with those close to you, define boundaries clearly, and restate commitments in a gentle tone. I watch and nod, because you are choosing the path of maturity over the wild weeds of gloating. The one who sought to harm you no longer has power in this house, but I do not allow your heart to turn them into a haunting ghost. Ghosts remain only when people keep feeding them. You hand them over to the fair process so that what needs to be accounted for will be laid on the table in the right place, while your heart is left free for the good things that are opening before you. Just like a river after it has been cleared, opportunities come to you, not like fireworks that flash and vanish, but like sap seeping into the trunk of a tree, quiet, steady, effective. A neighbor who had always kept a distance takes the initiative to check in. An invitation to collaborate that was once missed returns with kinder terms. A door at an institution you thought was closed sends a letter setting a date to meet. Each small detail joins to form a plank bridge, and you walk to the far shore of fear, not to brag that you made it, but to be grateful that you were brought through. The house where the slightest wind once made you jump now rings with the clink of bowls and chopsticks, with laughter that is not forced. A space filled with gratitude warms brick walls faster than any fireplace. Do not think I forget the part of restoration. Recompense sometimes comes in very human forms, an awkward yet sincere apology, an offer of compensation, a chance to set things straight on the record, a message asking if you are willing to share your experience to protect others. You are free to choose. But I counsel you to pick what nourishes peace. Receiving compensation is reasonable. Correction is necessary. But do not let your soul camp on the ground of judgment. Stay instead on the ground of building. You sign your name decisively. Put things in order, then get up and plant something new. It may be the shelf you have postponed installing, a reading nook for quiet evenings, or a wall calendar with a column set aside for regular document checkups. The shape of peace is built from such simple habits, and I rejoice to see you choose what lasts. On quiet nights, when you remember the old storm, you may still shudder. That is the reflex of a body that has been under pressure. I do not blame you. I remind you to pour some water, light a small candle, speak softly to me about what makes you restless, and let the quiet return like a blanket laid over your shoulders. You know, the deepest part of the miracle is not that the other person has been brought low, but that you did not turn into someone else after the ordeal. You remain kind but no longer permissive, generous but not spilling over, trusting yet able to discern. That character makes those who once doubted you bow their heads, makes those who stood by you value you even more. And for those who will meet you in the future, you become an invitation. Choose the light, for light will come. You may be surprised to discover that the one who brings the key detail to light is not a powerful figure, but a silhouette that usually blends into the walls, a clerk who reads the file more carefully than usual, a security guard used to glancing at signatures on hundreds of pages, an intern who notices that the timestamp on the scan is off. I lead them to the right place at the right time. Like placing a matchstick into the hand of someone searching for the stove. They do not need to be celebrated, but you can send your thanks and a small gift. When gratitude is sown, its next season is often generosity. And generosity always opens a way that dry reasoning alone cannot carve out. From then on, the web of goodwill around you grows thicker and stronger. Like the safety net for a trapeze artist, rarely needed. But when needed, it can save an entire life. I do not stop you from speaking the truth with strength. I only remind you to use a tone that does not turn you into a judge. Let the fire of justice stay in the brick kiln. Do not spread it out under the sun until it cracks and dries. Let the process of dealing with wrongdoing continue, while you yourself make healing your priority. No one can build a house and fight every day and still keep their hands from shaking. You practice trusting and employing others. Learn to delegate. Choose healthy supports if the wording of a contract needs adjustment. Ask a lawyer if the locks must be upgraded. Call a craftsman if the household needs to be taught how to keep records. You do it promptly. That is practical courage, more precious than 100 slogans. Then, one morning, you catch sight of your face in the mirror. The fatigue has fallen from your eyes. A new brightness rests in your pupils. I smile because you are seeing what I saw long before. You have not only kept a home, you have become a home. Young people come seeking your counsel. Those who have been hurt come to lean on you. You do not have to rescue the whole world. You need only be faithful to those I place within your reach. And whenever you tell the story again, you speak in the tone of healing. We went through a hard trial, but the truth lit the way. We are grateful to have been lifted by the very thing that seemed set to push us down. A story told like that does not pour oil on the flames. It pours water on the smoldering coals of resentment in the listener's heart. When that fire dies out, someone may at last be calm enough to do the right thing in their own story. Destiny is not an index finger pointing at the ceiling. It is the new road that opens under your feet. You do not stand giving speeches to the road. You walk. Each step is proof that grace is stronger than schemes, truth more enduring than lies. And peace can sprout even where the ground has just been trampled. The one who once tried to take your home will face the cost of that attempt. But your gain is not in watching them pay it. Your gain is a new vision, a new community, a new heart. That is the inheritance of the righteous, not a chest of jewels, but the ability to sleep peacefully without locking the door of your mind. Because you know there is one who keeps watch. In the days to come, do not mark this time with a noisy feast, but with a small, deep ritual. Lay your hand on the wall of your house. Whisper words of thanks. Name each person who stood beside you, and speak blessing even over those who went astray. In that prayer of blessing, you will hear the final snap of chains breaking, and in that very moment you will know the story has turned the page. From then on, you walk into a land where you no longer bow to fear. You walk straight, gentle and sure, each day a lesson, each decision a yes to what is good. And whenever the wind rises, you do not look to the sky to guess the rain. You look to the storehouse of discipline you have just built, orderly papers, clear boundaries, the habit of prayer, a network of trust, a tender heart. These 5 pillars I raise so that this house, this life, will not only survive, but shine. When someone asks you what great thing awaits at the end of the storm, you can answer without raising your voice: a new person. That new person is a reward above all rewards. The proof that when truth is brought into the daylight, destiny not only restores what was taken, but also gives what never used to be yours, the freedom that does not fear loss. Holding my hand, you go on not to avoid storms, but to learn how to walk through them like someone who knows the way home. My child, keep your heartbeat steady and your eyes wide open. For even now the layers of mist and smoke are being blown apart, and the room that was once loud suddenly shifts in its very air. The one who used to control the scene with invisible strings is abruptly thrown off balance. Their gaze no longer holds. Their steps fall out of rhythm. Their words break like a song that's lost its beat. I see you standing there, neither shrinking into the dark nor searching for an exit, only still, like a pillar set in the middle of the room. And it is your calm that is making every ear grow quiet. You do not need to shout. You do not need to defend yourself. The gravity of truth speaks for itself. Like a river silent, persistent carving a way through stone, those who once hesitated out of fear are beginning to straighten themselves. They turn to look at you, not to judge, but to acknowledge this: you were placed in the wrong role in a story someone painstakingly staged. I lay my hand on your shoulder and remind you to breathe deep, not to retreat too quickly, for this is not a moment of withdrawal, but the departure point of a new direction. Listen to the room's breathing. Listen to the way the atmosphere turns. Because in those pockets of stillness, righteousness is stirring like dawn about to break. I set this moment in place, neither early nor late, and at the exact time when hearts have not yet found their footing. I make the smallest details become the lever that pulls the curtain of deceit down. There now, do you see it? A voice long held back begins to rise. It starts with a calm remark about an unusual act. Then, a memory that seemed trivial suddenly clicks into an empty space. Then a brief story just enough to illuminate a dark patch. The scattered pieces that for so long hung like dust in sunlight now gather into lines, and the whole picture appears undeniable. I need no one to yell. I need only the truthful to speak at the right time. Only one sentence that is enough. One confirming look. One resolute nod, and the dominoes set by deception begin to fall. When the mask drops, even the tone in the liar's voice changes. They are no longer decisive but cautious. No longer coherent but tangled. No longer controlling but clinging. You do not need contempt. Let your heart be clear as water. For that very steadiness lifts you above what is small and petty. I did not lead you here for revenge. I lead you through this hour to restore you to your rightful place, and to teach this room, these hearts, the way light works. What belongs to truth endures. What is built on scheming dissolves the moment light touches it. Like plaster meeting water, the counterfeit paint peels away, and the brickwork shows its true structure. A light touch is enough to reveal what is foundation and what is only a coating. Now look closely at the faces around you. Some are mixing shame with relief, because they half knew yet did not dare to speak. Some are relearning the lesson of conscience. Some exhale because justice still knows the road back. I do not force them to bow and confess. I only require that they look straight at the truth and admit what they have seen. For you, this moment is like when a blacksmith draws a billet from the fire. It glows red. It softens so it can be bent into its proper form. If you rush, the hammer will shatter the surface. But if you keep the rhythm, every blow will forge strong grain. Do not let emotion carry you away like a rising tide. Say what must be said with the clarity required. Stop exactly where you should stop, and give the rest to me. I will cause scrambled records to return to their proper order, distorted numbers to recover their meaning, lies to show the rough, clumsy edges of themselves. You only need to keep your center aimed at what is good, because when your heart leans toward the good, your tongue will not sow poison. Your eyes will not transmit fear. Your hands will not inflict useless harm. This is how the restored walk, not trampling, not retaliating, yet also not retreating into the borderlands of shadow. I know you want to ask, after everything is exposed, what comes next? I answer, with an image you have seen before but only now understand. A heavy rain has just swept through the garden, leaves strewn everywhere. Soil turned to mud. Flower beds no longer intact. Yet that damp ground is the very condition for tender roots to go deep and sprout with strength. So the first thing for you is not to blame the past, nor to perform a victory. Gather the fallen leaves. Open the drainage channels. Set the stakes back for the young shoots. Arrange the path again. You will see hands asking to help someone who once doubted you, now volunteers to stand in your support. Someone long silent suddenly offers to review the documents. Someone carefully combs through each clause in an old agreement to seal the gaps. You do not have to carry it alone. I have placed around you people like fastening bricks, small in weight, yet set in the right place. They create astonishing strength. Assign work according to ability. Do not pull everything onto yourself. The wise do not do everything. The wise know how to set the line. As the rebuilding begins, remember, this purity is not only in the final outcome, but in every way you take a step. If a word must be spoken, speak it plainly, without adding sharp seasoning. If a decision must be made, make it on principle and evidence, not on anger or favoritism. Record the process. Record what has been corrected, and let transparency shine through every stage. Transparency is not the exposing of private life. It is letting light pass along the structure so everyone can see what holds it upright. I will use your careful orderliness to instruct those who witnessed this collective stumble that wisdom does not shout. It arranges, that dignity does not demand. It reveals itself that justice is not bought. It arrives when people patiently stand with what is right. You see, rising does not erupt like fireworks. It persists like dawn returning every day, never growing old. Do not be surprised if the one unmasked still tries to salvage what they can. They may shape wavering words, blame circumstances, reweave the story with threads of emotion to draw others back to their side. You do not need to be cold, and you certainly do not need to be cruel. You only need to keep the warmth of mercy without lowering the standard of truth. Forgiveness is not the same as erasing traces. Compassion is not the same as leaving the gate open for the offense to repeat. You may choose the path of goodness that is both upright and gentle. Let process do its part. Let responsibility be apportioned clearly. Let boundaries be drawn darker and firmer. I lead you along this narrow way so others can see there is a kind of strength that needs no fist, a kind of victory that does not require a loser to be crushed. When what is right is honored, everyone can grow, even those who were wrong, if they are willing to learn. This is also the time when I open additional doors you had never considered before. Someone you once kept at a distance offers a chance for transparent cooperation. A small group in the community asks to restart service activities under new standards. A young person quietly comes near and says they learned from how you stood still in the storm. You do not have to accept everything at once. Sift by criteria what strengthens the foundation, what builds people, what aligns with your calling. Prioritize those. And invitations that seem attractive yet require you to loosen boundaries or sacrifice integrity, let them pass like sea foam. I am not bringing you to loud banquets of fame. I am leading you to the long table of faithfulness, where each project is cooked until done. Each relationship is seasoned with trust. Each decision is measured by a true standard. Seated at that table, you will smell grace rising warm enough to nourish a long stretch of road. Remember, restored honor is not a medal pinned to the chest, but a fragrance clinging to your clothes after you have walked through an herb garden. Others smell it before you do. Slowly they change how they name you, how they ask your counsel, even how they speak of you when you are not present. Do not bother counting how many compliments have come. Count how many right things you do each day. Do not chase applause. Follow the footsteps of faithfulness. In time, your persistence will rewrite the story. And this new page needs no dark ink. Its lines are sharp because right habits are repeated. If someone asks the secret, you may smile and say the secret is not in one breakthrough. It is in habits that seem ordinary, yet are not easy to keep, especially after an upheaval that tempts you to make up for it with one loud leap. You choose the solid road, not the fast one. That is how I teach you balance when the noisy stage has been cleared away. A day will come when you look back at that tense room and see it as nothing more than an old photograph. Your face in that photo is more peaceful than you expect. Your smile is not dazzling, only warm. You understand then that the greatest victory is not making someone collapse before you, but finding your heart has not hardened into a knot of bitterness. You no longer call what happened a wound that names you. You call it a measuring mark by which you gauge your own endurance and the endurance of those beside you. I have led you from dark to light without burning the stages, so you can guide those who come after. And for anyone who asks what to do when covered by fabricated words, you will have an answer that needs no ornament. Let light do its part, and you do yours, the part of uprightness, the part of patience, the part of principled kindness. You stand at the threshold of a new season, not a season of display, but a season of ripened fruit. Whatever you touch will carry the taste of maturity. The homes you enter will feel a safe warmth. The conversations you join will open healthier possibilities. I place on your shoulders a well-fitted garment, the garment of one who guards, one who lifts, one who keeps watch over what belongs to truth. Wearing it, you move on unafraid of night, for now you know that even when darkness muddles the outlines, dawn never forgets the way back, and in each new morning, I will softly call your name again. As I call it today, do not leave. Keep standing. Listen. Step forward, because from the moment the wicked plan collapses, you are not only given back your place, you are entrusted with a wider vision, a deeper heart, and a calm gait that few possess. Carry that gait into the days ahead. I am still here, right beside your heart, and you will not miss a beat anymore. Stay here with me. Do not hurry to look away from what is opening before you, because the moment deceit is peeled back, a strange stillness settles over the space, like thick velvet laid upon every rustle. And in that instant, an instant, people often mistake for emptiness. Discernment awakens in everyone's chest like lamps, switching on all at once. They suddenly realize how long they have been blinded, that you are not the one who should be suspected. You are the one who should be protected, the one to be entrusted with the home and the name. That recognition spreads in rings like ripples when a pebble drops into a flat lake. Those who once stood frozen on the boundary step aside at once, leaning fully toward truth, no longer pretending not to see. I hear a new rhythm rising in their ribs, not chaotic, not showy, but deep and steady, like the marching drum of people choosing to walk toward the light. Do not skim past it. Do not fear that quiet, for in this stillness a resonance is gathering, an energy swelling. It is like wind before rain, announcing that earth will drink, trees will bud, not the hush of fear, but the silence that tells of a season turning, almost at the same time. A voice with weight, not the noise of the crowd, but the voice of one trusted in the room, speaks up with the dignity of someone who holds the scales of fairness. They do not scold. They do not sow fear. They simply set questions down as clear as daylight. Why was crucial information not communicated to you? For what reason were decisions affecting your home signed over whispered dinners? Where are the papers? Where is the evidence? Where is the explanation? Each question lands like a hammer tapping the door of a fabricated story, blow by blow, cracking the glued seams of deceit. I see the manipulator stammer. Words once prepared become fragmented. Sweat at his temples is not from heat, but from the direct gaze of conscience. He reaches for footing in old rehearsed tales, but that rope has rotted. It snaps, and he sinks into the emptiness of himself. Power borrowed from other people's fear is like a coat yanked off. What remains is only a trembling body. You do not need harsh words. You only need to stand, breathe deep, and let transparency do its work. When the last leftover noise falls away, you realize initiative has returned to your hands quietly. Without swagger, it returns, like electricity, reconnected with the poles aligned. Like water finding a straight canal, everything immediately running according to the original design. You keep your composure. Offer a smile just enough to thank those who corrected their course in time. Bow your head lightly to those who dared to speak when it mattered. Then turn inward to hear my next word. Do not let restoration turn you into an avenger. Let restoration turn you into a keeper. After this notable turn, an even larger movement is sliding forward in silence, not to overthrow anyone, but to set everything back where it belongs. Blessing to the right person, responsibility to the right place, honor to its true owner. Do you see it? Even light is moving along a wider arc. It shines into corners you thought no longer mattered, like an old drawer holding papers you once searched for in despair. like a half-forgotten nook in a witness's mind that suddenly becomes clear, like a tear from someone usually silent that slips down and softens the whole room. I use those grains of sand to build up the shallow bar people call conscience. And then a new ground forms beneath the community's feet, and their steps grow steadier. You return to the house, look around, and understand that restoration is not only giving back what was taken, it is also sealing the cracks fear opened, adjusting the windows, resealing the joints, wiping the glass again, so when sunlight pours in, it is no longer bent by dust. You begin to set things in order, agreements rewritten clearly, boundaries drawn with fine lines, placed exactly right, keys distributed with an awareness of responsibility, vague clauses peeled apart with straightforward wording. Every action, however small, carries a sign: I do not want you living by the memory of pain. I want you living by the discipline of peace. So you speak less about the one who was exposed, and you speak more about what must be built, what must be planted, what must be watered. If someone needs to apologize, give them the chance to speak their words. If someone must bear responsibility, give them space to make amends, but do not confuse forgiveness with permission to repeat the harm. I teach you to rest your hand on the door of your heart without sealing it shut, to open your palm to grant grace without letting everything spill away. You learn quickly, like a tree after rain, learning to hold water in trunk and root so the noon sun does not dry it out. And then you notice a beautiful consequence: those who once stood outside, watching your quiet turning, begin to borrow courage from your story. They do not applaud, they choose something kinder. They persist in speaking truth where they stand. They tidy their own corners. They straighten their own paperwork. They ask again the questions they once feared to ask. I smile as I watch a chain reaction spread like an underground stream. Meeting cracked stone water spills out, and the shared fields are watered. You become a sower not through speeches but through consistency, not through slogans but through tightening each bolt, signing each line, handling each matter with care. Strangely, that very humble, steady engagement softens hearts that once were hard. Rumors break apart not because you argue with sharp brilliance, but because your life no longer leaves gaps for them to cling to. When a manipulator has been exposed, they will often try to return wearing new disguises. That's what usually happens. But you now have a filter. You're no longer reacting on reflex. You choose to respond by principle. Everything is transparent. Every voice passes through a public process. Every decision is documented. Every asset leaves a trace. You become a door that knows when to open and when to close, both welcoming and watchful, so peace can walk alongside spaciousness. I place beside you a few companions, not many, but trustworthy enough to remind one another not to slip from the foundation. They are not intoxicated by victory. They are steady and deep, and they can name what is good without closing their eyes to what is wrong. You feel lighter knowing you don't carry it alone, because a blessing cannot be sustained if it is built on only one person's shoulders. When things have begun to ache less, you hear me invite you to do something beyond the frame of getting it back, to turn the trial you just went through into a training program for courage. You write down first for your own household principles for dissolving crisis. Slow down to verify. Pray before deciding. Ask questions before agreeing. Record before signing. And bring in a third person when transparency is needed. You train your home into a new rhythm. Each evening includes a moment without screens, so you can truly listen to one another. Each week has a set time to review what matters. Each month has a trash clearing day, unneeded items, unhealthy habits, Unnecessary words. I see you beginning to change. Your eyes are no longer heavy from standing guard, but bright with order. Your voice is no longer rushed from self-defense, but warm because you know where you're going. You offer gratitude to the right people at the right time, letting appreciation open more doors of goodwill. You also learn a precious skill, humility, when you are lifted up, because pride will open the door to a new cycle of falling. You remember this well. This honor is not a medal to flaunt, but a measuring rod to keep. And so, the position restored to you becomes a launch pad for a new assignment, not a throne to fall asleep on. Each morning, you place your hand over your chest and whisper, "Today, I choose light. I choose truth. I choose peace in action." That short sentence is like honey lining the throat, helping your words flow out without bitterness. At this point, you think the story is complete. But I say there is still more. The seed that has been pressed down wants to repay the earth. It longs to stretch its branches to give shade. I open to you pathways for healthy collaboration, places where you can take what you've just lived through as a treasured capital to build safe steps for others. A young person newly touched by crisis comes looking for you. You don't tell your story as a hero. You simply point to the small stakes that anchored you through the storm, the habit of recording, the principle of transparency, the courage to ask questions, and above all, the choice to trust the right people in the right measure. The story enters them like cool water. They leave steadier, and in that way, the blessing multiplies again. You keep the rhythm, neither rushing nor letting go, listening for my voice whenever the clouds begin to thicken. Because this time, at the very first ripples of warning, you already know to replace the buffer, tighten the bolts, lock the doors that must be locked. Everything runs like a well-oiled machine. Yet, in truth, it is a heart anointed with the oil of mercy and justice. You understand the law more deeply when you choose to stand with the truth. You are not only delivered, you are positioned to uphold others. And when you uphold others, you truly understand why I allowed you to walk that dark detour, so you would know the way back and lead others out. Therefore, even though today's story pauses on a page of restoration, I still instruct you to remain to the very end of each season. Don't rush out of the classroom before the bell has rung. What comes next won't be dazzling fireworks. It will be endurance, the ability to keep peace through many windy market days. Keep walking, slow but steady, alert but warm, humble yet strong. And whenever you hear a very soft inner call saying, "Stay," you will know it is me steadying you for one more beat, because from that steadfastness, new doors will open, gentle as the morning breeze, carrying you farther than you ever imagined, yet never beyond my embrace. Thank you for listening to today's message. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so we can continue receiving the living word together, building unshakable faith and walking in the immeasurable love of God. Amen.